Kia ora everyone, my name is JK and welcome back to JK Extra. Welcome to another special video. Sorry if you can also hear the fan in the background, you probably can't. But today I'd like to do something a little bit different and do a Traitors country ranking. Now I did do my Traitors season ranking a little bit ago, but I would like to do a country ranking. So I'm ranking a bunch of the different countries and their whole series adaptation. So instead of like ranking UK 1, UK 2 and UK 3, I'm going to rank just the UK as one entry on this list. So let's break down the countries that I am ranking and the seasons that I watched from those countries. So let's look at it. So let's start off with the ones that you probably expect to be on here. So these are the 7 different English-speaking countries that we are using on this list. So we have UK, which I have watched series 1 to 3, Celebrity UK 1, which I've made separate to UK, mainly because there was a separation that I did for on the non-English side, so I also thought I'd divide UK and Celebrity UK, mainly because I have thoughts. Then we have US, which I watched 1 to 3, Australia, which I watched 1 to 2, New Zealand 1 to 2, Ireland Season 1, and Canada Series 1 to 3. Right, so let's then move on to the non-English series. Now, this is not all of them, obviously. This is just some, and I've not watched all of these seasons. So let's talk about it. So Netherlands, the original version, Series 1 to 5. Netherlands Videoland or Special Edition, Series 1 to 4. France, I've only seen Series 1 to 4. I've not seen New Generations or Series 5, so those are not a part of my list, but maybe if I have thoughts about them, maybe I'll update the comments with them. Hungary Series 1, and I'm only up to Series 3, Episode 11. I'm actually halfway through watching that episode. And currently Series 4 isn't available to me, so I have not watched that. But yeah, and India Series 1. So, in total, there are 12 different countries on this list, so it is a top 12, and I've got some thoughts. So let's start off with the bottom of the list at number 12. So coming in at number 12, my least favourite country, unfortunately, goes to Traitors is what I say, or the Traitors France. Now, the Traitors France falls in this weird thing, because I think really, I don't know. Let's talk about the positives, and probably my favourite part of Traitors is definitely the host, Eric Anton, who is a great host. He plays the role well. You can tell he really likes playing the role. He is a great host. He does it well. The problem with him, though, is they rely on him too much. He narrates the show kind of like Gloria and Alan, but the problem is he narrates everything, which is nice when, but like he just makes tons of snappy remarks of every little section of the show, kind of like in Celebrity Treasure Island, which isn't great. It kind of clogs up the screen a little bit too much, and you hear his voice a lot, and we get a lot of repeated content from that sometimes. So yeah, there's that. So obviously I watched 4 series of this, and another big issue is definitely the pacing. Most series in English have 12 episodes. Well, Traitors has usually 14 episodes per season, but the problem is they don't have a cast that accommodates that. Usually, however much cast they have isn't accommodated for the number of episodes. So, for example, Series 4 should be only a 12 episode season, or really an 11 episode season, but it's stretched across 14 episodes. So the issue is the pacing is bad, and the 2 major issues I have with this is, in 1, episodes don't end how they do in the English seasons. In the English seasons, we have a very strict format. We usually will get a breakfast, we'll then get a mission, we'll then get the round table, and then we'll get a murder, and then the episode will end. Now, some have ended with cliffhangers around the round table, and that's fine. France doesn't do that. France just decides to end their episodes wherever the fuck they like, which is weird, and it means some episodes end after the mission, some end partway through the round table discussion, or we'll walk into the round table and then the episode ends, and it's just really weird. And also, the finale is stretched out through multiple episodes. Now, I'm going to talk about Series 4, because this is the season of France where it becomes most of an issue, where basically the finale is stretched upon 3 episodes. So it's stretched between episodes 12, 13, and 14, what should be done in just episode 12. So episode 12, we get the finding out who's been murdered and the mission. In episode 13, we get the discussion. And episode 14, we get the round table, or the final round table. And there was no fire of truth. They use a different version of the format where basically you just keep banishing until there's 3 people, and then the game just ends. So that's not great. The finale format isn't great. There's also just a bunch of random twists that are kind of stupid. They always do something every year of being able to find out what the dead players' thoughts. So in season 4, that middle episode was a graveyard that they got to search through and look for clues from the dead guests, and it's kind of random and stupid. Which is kind of my issue. A bunch of the twists are just kind of random. Series 4 also has this thing where one person becomes a traitor, and then through choice on the phone, and then one becomes a late traitors that also do the round table. So there's 2 traitor selections, and then one's chosen on a telephone, and it's just a bunch of weird things going on. And and the characters are fine, and the missions, some are interesting, but the problem is that the money part of the missions don't matter as much, and towards the end they don't care about the money at all. At the end of the mission, it's okay, you earned 6,000 euros. You didn't mention anything about earning money at the beginning of the mission, but okay. And it's just so, they fail to mention all of these things. So some missions, you don't even know what the point of any of the mission was until the end of the mission. So you're just kind of left there slightly confused. And towards the end, especially in Series 4, a lot of the missions are just try to guess who... 2 people do something, guess who's lying. If you're correct, you earn money, the other one doesn't. It's a lot of the same stuff. So it's probably a very boring and just not a fun version of the show. So would I recommend the Traitors France? Maybe. It's not bad. None of these versions are bad. And to be honest, I could flip this one and the next one. But just there's so much confusion. And if you speak English and you're looking into an international version, I would not highly recommend the Traitors France. Even though there are moments that I would recommend, I would definitely probably recommend Series 2 if you're going to watch it. Or Series 1 feels the most familiar. But I would not be annoyed if you stayed away from this franchise. Alright, coming in next is another version of the show that is obviously widely not very much liked. And that goes to the Traitors Australia. I'm sorry, Traitors AU, you just weren't that good. And they are coming back with a 3rd season, so I'm hoping that the return that's produced by New Zealand is a lot better, because obviously the 2 seasons of the Series 1 is probably the... I don't know which one is the weaker of the 2. Both series just kind of suck in ways. Series 1 is okay and is fine, but again, they don't really know what they're doing with the format, so they're just kind of doing again, it just feels almost like the production team themselves even didn't know what they were doing. The missions don't really feel like they matter, because it almost feels like at the end they're going to eventually build the prize pot up to 250,000. It's because they keep just feeding them more and more money. So it's not great. I don't love that aspect of the mission. So the mission's genuine. The shield is bad, and just honestly, it's very overpowered. How recruitment works is kind of dumb. It's just a lot of weird ideas in Season 1, and in Season 2, it's just a bad season. The cast is very unlikable. Not unlikable, but hard to watch. And the problem is that the traitor that is fooling everyone is also not fun to watch. So it's just a bunch of unfun people to watch in Series 2. So again, I would also not highly recommend this one. If you live in Australia, maybe. But I would never recommend going out and trying to find these 2 seasons. I just think you can skip over both of them. You're not missing out on much. Next is another version that a lot of people like, but I'm not the biggest fan of. And we fall into number 10, the Traitors US of A. Now, the Traitors US of A is good. It's good. It's falling in. Traitors US USA is definitely falling into the category of seasons or countries I would recommend looking for. The bottom two, you should really go out and look for them. USA, if you're looking for more Traitors, I would definitely recommend looking at these season. It's not as great though. The casts are less fun in my opinion. That, like Series 3 for me was very insufferable to watch. Series 1 was also very insufferable, and Series 2 was okay. But, obviously, yes, there are some fun twists. There's less non-eliminations in this one, which is a preference. But again, I just don't think that this one is worth watching, and it is the exact same as the UK one. It's filmed back to back, and it just doesn't offer enough for me to recommend this version of the show. It has okay enough seasons, and I guess if you live in the US or you like the reality stars, that's probably where the drive for this version of the show is, but it's just not really great. There's also, it definitely tries things, but yeah, again, there's just not much uniqueness from this version. Again, it's very copied from the UK version, so you just don't get a lot of new stuff. It just feels like a carbon copy of something we've seen before, and that's why it has to come here at 10. Coming here at number 9 is people like, and I am in the middle of watching, but unfortunately, it just falls short on some elements, and that goes to As Zurluk, is what I like to call the show, but I'm pretty sure that's not the correct pronunciation, or The Traitors Hungry, which is a very solid version, and to be honest, I would recommend seasons of this, but as a country whole, Series 3 especially, which is the series I'm currently watching, is very much of a letdown. The first two series were pretty solid, or fine. Series 1 was probably better than Series 2. There were some crazy moments in Traitors Hungry that are technically worth watching. But the issue with Traitors Hungry is how the show is created. Number one, if we're talking about twists and missions, there are some kind of okay twists, but this version takes a lot of inspiration from the UK and US one, and almost feels like a blatant copy in some ones. There are the occasional mission that is different. We get the driving around cars, we get the chariot holding that we get in both series, but there's just not a lot of uniqueness going on here. So to me, it just, and obviously it uses the same graphics as the US one. Like, there's just not a lot of things that make this version unique. It doesn't really make me want to go out and look for it. Right. There are definitely elements or things to do with the players that are fun, when multiple people go home, and, Series 3 with them being some of the even worse than Australia 2 with the Trader Hunters, but they are fun and likeable cast, and I recommend it sorely. I also really love the host of Attila. The problem that Traitors Hungry falls into is it's even worsely paced than Traitors France. And first things first, it does the same thing that Traitors France does, where episodes can kind of end wherever they want. Now, I know in some situations that's fine. Traitors Hungry Series 1 has the issue of this, because obviously they had to cut it down to 11 episodes when I clearly think they planned 12, so they have to kind of do that. And then also they do it in Series 3 because for some reason they have 13 episodes, but it just fucks around with the pacing, and Series 2 is definitely the strongest in terms of its structure, so I would recommend with that. But the also issue with Traitors Hungry is the episodes are so long, and too long in my opinion. Traitors Hungry episodes can range anywhere from as little as 50 minutes to up to an hour and a half, and most are closer to that hour and a half range, some over an hour and a half, and it just drags episodes on and on and on for way too long, and it's not like we're focusing on the round tables, or maybe even the missions, or even the breakfast room. We're focusing on some of the more general discussions that, to me, there's just not enough interestingness that happens. You know what I mean? We don't get to the round table in most episodes until round about the hour mark. It's just kind of boring. We're just waiting for something to happen. And again, yeah, so with the repeat. Also, Series 2 and Series 3 are shot back to back, which means Season 3 has almost nothing unique mission-wise. There are some new twists which are fine, But like, season 3 has really brought down my love for Traitors Hungary because of the back-to-back nature. Hopefully when I watch season 4, it will kind of mine. But again, there are things I would recommend, and this is probably the first show on the list that I would go, hey, there are some moments to check out. But it's just not my favorite. There's not enough uniqueness to this version, but I will still continue to watch it, as for all of them, because, you know, they are fun and solid. I just like the Traitors as a format. But yeah, that's why it comes at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is another version of the Traitors that is a little bit older than the rest, because it is the original version, Traitors, or the Traitors Netherlands. Now, this one is a weird one to rank, because a lot of the issues I have with some of the earlier seasons are to be original format issues that do later then get changed and corrected. But let's talk about some of my main issues. Again, we have issues with pacing, which the show has decided to fix. Season 3 and 4, I think, are the 2 seasons where episodes are over an hour long. And again, it's even worse. We wait even longer to get to the round table. So yeah, bad pacing of its episodes are fine. Twists, in terms of twists, the twists are okay, and they're pretty normal. And there's nothing new, but we can't discredit, because a lot of things that Traitors do are taken on to other versions. Like, we get the seer, we get the hit list, as they call it, or the death list, or the kill list, I forgot what they call it, or like death row. I like that. But yeah, again, when we're talking about it, yeah, episodes are too long. Series 1 is very much of a weird one, because obviously there's no Fire of Truth. There are shields in that first series, but like the armory isn't introduced until series 2. But it just kind of targets 2 players, and I definitely would recommend going out and maybe looking at this version just to see the original version of the show. And it does try, and it has these unique elements to it. I like there's not a direct, they're not competing for money, they're competing just for silver on this version of the show, which is fun and it's cool. But yeah, again, there is a lot to this version that I would recommend going out and looking for it. But again, I would probably just not recommend you Season 1. Season 1 is probably, obviously, to me, the weakest of the seasons. Seasons 2 onwards are fine, they all have the armory. Season 1 doesn't have the armory, and it has a really crappy end game. And again, a lot of the issues that I have with the show fall into it just being the first version of the show, so it's just trying to figure itself out. One thing I do like, though, are the missions. The missions are different. The problem is they're not very memorable. Like, yes, we are watching different missions we've never seen before. The problem with the missions are they're just sort of okay. Like, they're not even cool, they're not high budget, but they're just meh. Like, that's okay. There are times when we see a mission that has been changed. Like, for example, one of my favorite missions is definitely in Season 2, Episode 2, which is the standard masked, church match mission that we get in a lot of Series 1s. The problem is it's a little bit more high stakes in how they do it, where it's only one round, and if you lose, you immediately give the win to the other team. That's very interesting and actually kind of higher stakes, and they're gathering more and more and more clues. That's slightly different. But yeah, again, we get like the counting mission that we see a lot. But a lot of the missions are just fine. Like, we get like serving people at a bar, and then like depending on who does what, you get like people go to the armor. It's just like, okay, like that's what I feel about a lot of this version of the show. It's just kind of okay, and it's not bad, it's solid. Would I recommend it? Yes, because it's the original version, but to me there wasn't enough intrigue to this version that I would have liked. Well, anyway, coming in at number 7 is, if I remember, another international version of the show, which is the Traitors India. Traitors India is fine. I think the issue that I have with Traitors India is there is only one season to rank. And I like the Traitors India cast that we get, but when we're looking at uniqueness, we get a couple of unique missions and a couple of other missions. What is good about the missions that they use are not too many of them we've seen over and over again, but it might just be in the versions we've seen. Looking at other versions, they are very common ones that they use. And we get some stuff. I very much like the host in Attila. TJ also, I've not talked about the hosts for some of the other ones. Roger is fine in Australia. Alan is great in the US. Tiji, who is the Netherlands host, is also just kind of fine. And I talked about Attila. I do really like Attila. But the host in Iran, I think is what his name is for India, he is great. He is definitely one of the leads. I think just part of the issue is that it is the kind of the first season of India, so we get a lot of the first tropes. We get the sending someone home immediately. We get the kind of weird ways of trying to introduce the shield. It was fine. I also think that this version is a bit too intense with some of its players. I just think it was a little bit grisly. But also, the biggest issue is, again, the episode lengths. We get 10 episodes, all over an hour long, besides episode 9, which is in the 50-minute range. It just drags on a little bit, but this one probably is one of the ones I felt at the least. So yeah, some solid ideas and a very solid version of the show, and I would recommend you this season if you can find it. But there's nothing too special about this version, in my opinion. I think it feels definitely like the US version, but kind of better. So yeah, that's why I would put it here at 7. Coming in at number 6 is a series that I think everyone loved a bit more than I did. I wasn't the biggest fan, and that's why we go with the Celebrity Traitors UK. Okay, Celebrity Traitors is a fine season, but it's not as good as everyone makes it out to be. The problem with Celebrity Traitors is, well, the problem with Celebrity Traitors for me is that, well, what makes the season good doesn't make it a good Traitors season. Yes, it is a very entertaining season, and yes, the quality of the show is high, but that's only because it's made by the UK team. It's just strong from a UK standpoint. It's good things. The problem is we don't get a lot of uniqueness, so it just felt very drab and boring. If we go over all of these missions, episode 1 is Trojan Horse. Nothing really unique there. Because we've seen Trojan Horse before, and it's kind of similar to a lot of the episode 1 missions that we get. You know, episode 2 being... What is episode 2's mission? At the funeral, which is a good mission. The problem is we've seen it before, and if we had unique missions, this mission would be fine. It's a good mission, but when it's mixed in with a bevy of other non-unique missions, we get the chessboard, which honestly has no uniqueness at all. The stopping a train before it explodes, that's basically like a higher version of Australia. Like, the Banshee screaming, when we've seen the communication mission over and over and over again, and this one, it was funny, but I wanted more. I wanted something unique from this version, and really, besides digging their own graves, I didn't really get that. You know what I mean? So this version is nice, and it's solid, and it's entertaining, and we get some great moments, and I would definitely be looking for this season, just like Traitors India. I would highly recommend. But the problem is just this version doesn't be a must-watch for me. If it's easy to find, it is definitely a must-watch, but if it's not easy to find for you, then it's not really a must-watch. It's a kind of more of an okay, fine ride, if you know what I mean. So that's why it comes at number 6. Coming in at number 5 is another version of the show that premiered this year with an absolute great season, and that being the Traitors Ireland. Wow. Traitors Ireland has some great paced episodes. The episodes are they're a bit shorter, so they feel a bit faster. The problem that I think Traitors Ireland has is it comes in with a season 1, so it has to try to introduce a lot of things. It has a pretty great cast. It's got a great host in Siobhan. I really like Traitors Ireland. Again, it falls mostly under the issue of that it is the first that we only have one season here, so it kind of feels a bit shaky, and we get some repeated elements, some non-repeated elements. Again, it's good, and I would recommend this season heavily. It's got a nice cast, a decent amount of fun people. We've got some interesting and unique missions, but it just isn't hitting into the iconic tier. It was a very solid version of the show, but like from 4 onwards, each of them have something in them that is making me really want to recommend to you. This one is like I would try to recommend you find this season, but it's not gonna be a great season. It just, to me, didn't hit that legendary tier or a cool aspect. There's nothing that is making me really want to tell people, go watch this version. This is the thing it has, or this is the unique twist on the franchise. It's solid, and the missions are unique, twists are unique. Is that Siobhan stabbing her dogs? No, she's holding them. I just realized that. Like, look at this. But yeah, fine, solid, good version. Just, I don't know. It can't go any higher because the others really want to introduce. Yeah, so that's why it's here at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is our last non-English version on the list, and wow, I love this version, and so sad it got decommissioned after Series 4, and we didn't get a Series 5 this year, and that is the Devarader's Videoland, or Devarader's Halloween, or the Traitors Videoland / the Traitors Halloween. Now, Devarader's has had 4 seasons, and really Season 1 is what drags it down to just 4. I could maybe consider putting it higher if Season 1 didn't exist. But yeah. Now, let's talk about Devarader's Season 1, Videoland Season 1 to Seasons 2 to 4, because it is different. Season 1 is a Christmas special, and it just is kind of an average, shorter season of the Traitors, where 2 to 4 are Halloween specials. My throat is drying up. It really leans into... Let's talk about Series 2 to 4, because Series 2 to 4 really leans into their Halloween twist. This is the cast photo for Series 2, by the way. That's what I used, because the Series 1 is kind of just... Meh. The host, and Frank Anjaban, who hosts from Season 2 onwards, is great. He plays into the supervillain role. The missions are the best portion of the Netherlands version of the show. They feel creepy, they feel unique, and they feel interesting. And even though they have the armory in all 3 seasons of the Halloween edition, they use the armory in very interesting ways. They have the situation of, do you find the silver, or do you go for the armory, or missions that just feel different. They feel like they mix up the format of the show, and it's just a solid version, and I highly recommend that you go out and trying to find these seasons, especially Series 2 to 4. Series 1 does drag it down, but Series 1 does have, especially its Episode 1's mission is unique and fun, and Series 2 to 4 leans so well into their Halloween theme. Just so many great... The Clown Hunt mission, the Theatre to Begin Series 4. It's just fun, and it's great. And what's so great about this season is it's not paced badly. Each season is 6-hour-long episodes, except for Season 1, which is 6 45-minute episodes. So the seasons are easy to watch, easy to just get in there and love. And I would highly recommend trying to find this series if you can. It's an easy watch, and each season is mostly contained. You don't need to watch the Netherlands show to understand this show. I love this show, and I'm so annoyed it got decommissioned after Series 4 because of the low ratings of actually not even this version of the show, I think of the original version of the show. But yeah, it introduces so much, and that's why I have to put it here at number 4. Coming in at number 3, Home Country Pride, Traitors NZ. Now, Traitors NZ has a lot to offer, especially at Series 2. Series 1, which is what we've got a photo of here, doesn't have as much to offer, but what really both series have to offer, though, is smart faithfuls. If you want to watch some seasons where the faithfuls kick their butt, watch these 2 seasons, and that's why I have to highly recommend. It is the best series to look into. So Traitor Hunters... But also, Season 2's missions are definitely worth watching. If you want to watch a series of missions that very much impact the game, watch Traitors NZ Series 2. It does it so well. The casts are likable, they're fun, they're unique, they are, game players. It's just such a highly recommendable 2 seasons. Now, season 1 is a little bit low budget, so that's the only reason I wouldn't recommend series 1. Series 2, I would recommend it. It's a bit high budget, but again, it is still a little bit low budget. Just remember, New Zealand doesn't have a high budget for game shows. They only, for Series 2, only had a budget of around $3 million, where UK and US were spending millions of dollars per episode. So just recognize that. But yeah, it's still a very solid version of the show, and 100% I would highly recommend this version. I don't think I need to talk too much about this version. I love it. I think the presentation is solid, and I'm so happy it's coming back for Season 3. But that is why I'm going to put it here at number 3. Coming in at number 2, and between number 2 and 1 are so close to me, and debatably after this show's final season, season we just had, I'm so close to putting it at number 1, but I have to put it at 2, and that's the Traitors Canada. Canada is so great, and I think Canada's show is worth watching for the presentation style. How Canada edits the show is so murder mystery style. It's so great in just how the show is edited. It's creepy, it's dark, it really feels like it blends well into the theme. The openings feel different. It almost doesn't feel like a reality show. Now, the reason that this one is a bit lower is because I feel like Series 1 does let the Canada down, and that's why it has to go at 2 and not at number 1. But it is still a solid version of the show, and especially the missions. The missions are strong. They have unique twists. They have, they are trying to at least make the missions have impact on the game. It doesn't feel like, oh, hey, push things up the hill. Yes, maybe Season 1 has that, but Season 2 and 3 don't have that. They feel unique. They feel different, and I just highly recommend that you go and watch Traitors Canada, especially Series 2 and 3. They are fun, cool to watch. They do have some reality show contestants, but you can watch them, and because they don't bring up too much of their past on the show. But yeah, that's why Traitors Canada comes in here at number 2. And at number 1, it's just Series 1 and 2 are so high to me that they just elevate it here. Traitors UK. Traitors UK is such a solid version of the show, and 100 highly recommend. I think Traitors UK is definitely the best starting point of any of the Traitors. If you want to look into a country first, watch Traitors UK. It's just such a great introduction to the show. It's got great seasons. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 feel like they elevate each other. Well, I think Celebrity Traitors felt like a downgrade. Series 1, 2, and 3 feel like they do actually genuinely build on each other very well. It feels, especially for Series 2, it feels like they are building off what they've done in Series 1. And that's why I love Traitors UK. It's just such a solid version. I would highly recommend to this. If you have not watched the Traitors UK, what are you doing? Go down and watch it. And that's really all I can say for this version. So, that was my ranking for the 12 seasons. Obviously, I didn't put my Minecraft version, but go apply for that if you can. But because I felt like that felt unfair. But yeah, that's my ranking of the 12 countries. What are your rankings? Put them below in the comments. Maybe you've not seen some of them. That's fine. But all that's left to say is thank you for watching, if indeed you still are. Farewell.